புரியலைன்னா அப்புறம் பேசுகிறோம். For the past few days now, Papa has been drawing our attention to Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and he is making it often clear that this is not a textual exercise, intellectual exercise. We are trying to connect our life with Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Then only we can draw the maximum benefit out of it. We try to bring in before our mind the life so far lived. How did we react to events and individuals? And then at that time, what was our norm? And after hearing the points raised in Bhagavad Gita, are we in a position to revisit those experiences and then form the correct? Why we were made to go through that? So, for the sake of newcomers, we will have a quick recap of what we have done. The Bhagavad Gita, a timeless guide to life. Beloved Papa beautifully describes the Bhagavad Gita as a veritable mosaic of eternal wisdom. This sacred scripture provides insights into every aspect of eternal wisdom. You can sit here. Chairman seat.
Next to you.
No, there is you can sit.
Okay, sorry.
Beloved Papa beautifully describes the Bhagavad Gita as a veritable mosaic of eternal wisdom. Mixture. This sacred scripture provides insights into every aspect of human life, addressing both spiritual and physical dimensions with profound clarity. Its timeless relevance lies in the fact that it leaves no stone, no question unanswered about how to navigate life's challenges and opportunities. For those seeking the ultimate truth of philosophy and practical light for everyday living, the Gita is an unparalleled guide. The central message of this great work is the unity and harmony between the soul and God, in the individual. Soul means in here, Jiva and Brahma. And the between God and nature. Yakanath Ishwaran, a renowned spiritual teacher, writer, translator, devoted his life to making India's spiritual classics accessible to the modern world. Known for his dear and engaging translations of texts like Bhagavad Gita, Ishwaran's works bridge the gap between the ancient wisdom and contemporary life. He likens the Gita to a map and a guidebook, explaining that it offers a systematic overflow of life journey. Like a seasoned guide, it lays out the terrain, highlights various paths to the summit, spiritual realization, warns of potential pitfalls, and provides practical advice. Ishwaran emphasizes that the Gita speaks not only to scholars of philosophy, but to anyone navigating the complexities of life. For instance, consider a situation where someone is torn between professional ambition and family responsibilities. The Gita offers tools for finding balance through principles such as detachment, selfless action, and focus on one's duty. Can you give a chair to Swami? Inside it will be there, you know. Yeah. Okay. You got it, okay, sure. So talks about Got it, got it. Okay, you can sit, you can sit. So Papa talks about a mosaic of eternal wisdom. Ishwaran gives us, it's a gap and guide. And Papa says there is no problem which has not been solved by, left unsolved by Bhagavad Gita. Ishwaran says this is not only addressed to the seekers on the spiritual path, but also to one who is in the midst of various preoccupations like family, profession, and society. So this is the sum and substance of the introduction so far given. The allegory of the Kurukshetra battlefield brings the Gita teachings to life. This battlefield is not just a historical or mythical setting, it represents the inner struggles we face every day. Lord Krishna, the charioteer and guide, symbolizes the indwelling reality, the divine wisdom within us. Arjuna, the warrior, filled with doubt and confusion, represents our sense of individuality. Often torn with doubt and confusion, represents our sense of, often torn between conflicting emotions and responsibilities. The Kauravas are the negative forces within us, greed, anger, pride, that pull us down. In contrast, the Pandavas symbolizes positive virtues such as truth, courage, and compassion. The Kurukshetra is the world, within and without, a stage where these forces clash. So Bhagavad Gita, first introduction, and now it is there in our heart. For example, imagine a student preparing for an important exam. The distractions, doubts, fears they face, also akin to the Kauravas. Their determination, discipline, focus represent the Pandavas. The inner guidance that tells them to stay on track despite the chaos is Krishna's voice within. Beloved Papa captures the essence of the Gita as spontaneity of life born of egoless purity and innocence. He points out to the state of perfect freedom and divine ecstasy that emerges when one surrenders to the ego, when surrenders the ego and aligns with the universal truth. The Gita does not ask us to abandon the world or our responsibilities. Instead, it encourages us to divinize our actions by performing them selflessly and in harmony with the divine will. For example, a doctor treating patients without attachment or recognition or reward exemplifies the Gita's teaching of selfless action, Karma Yoga. The Bhagavad Gita ultimately teaches us to rise above the limitations of the ego. It shows that by merging our individual entity with God, the universal soul, we achieve true freedom and peace. In other words, we should know that we are only playing the part allotted to us by Him in this world Leela, and nothing is really initiated by us. The theme is repeatedly brought out by Lord Krishna throughout the Bhagavad Gita. The Gita's message is not confined to one era or one culture. Its wisdom speaks to every being in every age. The sacred text stands apart in its scope and depth. It provides not only lofty philosophical insights, but also practical guidance on how to live a life of meaning and fulfillment amidst challenges. Whether one is a student or a professional or a parent or a seeker of truth, the Bhagavad Gita remains a timeless source of inspiration and a path to self-realization. So the introductory part comes to an end. That means some idea. We are trying to make the mental background, before we enter into the Bhagavad Gita. We should have some idea, Does anybody remember anything from this? One word, one expression. Because we are reading.
Hari Om Swami.
Tell me. Yes?
Swamiji,
Ah.
just that Bhagavad Gita has solutions to all the problems.
Ah.
And the example that you gave, Swamiji, of how if there is a discord between professional life and leading as a normal life, then points like detachment. So this is what Swamiji I
Yeah, perfectly right.
Hari Om.
Perfectly right. Anything else?
Swamiji, according to Papa, spontaneity of life, Swamiji.
Spontaneity of life born out of egoless purity and innocence. It's a very important word for all of us. Though we are nowhere near that, at least we are very clear this is what we want to achieve. Then, anything else?
Swamiji,
Hmm.
Gita is relevant to all, at all times, and in all fields.
No. It is available to at all times in all fields. Very good. So when we prepare this, when we go through this manana, then our approach to Gita will be totally different. We thought it is a text and we don't know Sanskrit. So it is inaccessible to us. We can't at this age learn by heart. So we were all having that impression. Now it is not like that. We all can explore entering into it. Then, anything else?
Swamiji,
Swami,
Bhagavad Gita help us to focus from the sense of individuality to mysterious power.
Yeah. It is an effort, yes. The sense of individuality, we are trying to understand the relationship between the sense of individuality and the mysterious power behind it. Very good. Harmony. Master key, the whole divinity. Have you not come to that? We have covered only 4 or 5 introductory portions. Anything else?
Swamiji, Bhagavad Gita teaches us Atmanatma Vivekam Vicharana. This will give, sir.
Did we touch about that?
Atmanatma Vivekam.
Atmanatma Vivekam. Okay. That is right. Okay. Now we are talking about the introduction we have just now presented. Do we get connected? If you remember means we are trying to get connected with the theme.
Yes,
So first line of this introduction was, that is the mosaic of eternal wisdom. That is a very, Papa's word, it's a beautiful word. It's a mosaic of eternal wisdom. That also we should try to understand, because it's not one-sided.
Swamiji, our quality of life will be improved.
We are only for that purpose we are going through this, to improve the quality of our life.
Quality of
Then, anything else?
Swamiji, from just
one important thing nobody has raised.
From just a book in the shelf, now it has become an applicable thing in life.
Yeah. We are slowly taking out from the shelf. Okay. Then one important aspect this introductory part covered. Very important.
Not just a philosophy, but a practical life.
Swamiji, it's about
1 minute. Somebody is telling here. 1 minute only.
Sorry, it's not just only a philosophy, but a practical guide to us.
Practical, and it's not merely a theory or a tall talk. It gives us a practical methodology, how to handle effectively all situations. Good, then.
Roadmap of life.
Roadmap. Then. One important aspect.
Swamiji, Sarvopanishado Gavo Dokya Gopalanandana.
Banditliye, we have not reached there. We are still in the introductory portion.
18 chapters, so 18 rooms.
We have not reached. Today's morning, just now we have covered. We are trying to see on which point we are getting aligned.
Swamiji, behold divinity in every aspect.
We have not come to that.
Swamiji, unity and harmony between the soul and nature.
That's also an important point. Yeah, soul. Soul and God, God and nature.
It helps us to weather all ups and downs, ridicules, harassment, everything. We are able to face
Yes.
all the ups and downs.
Okay.
Without any wavering or being down.
That important aspect.
Swamiji, Bhagavad Gita and the 18 chapters, 18 rooms, Mari.
That is okay. That is okay. So far, we have not entered into it. I am talking about what has been read out now. Yesterday we were observing Mauna, one full day. There were so many exercises. The purpose of this exercise was to develop ekagrata, concentrated attention. So similarly, when we read, is the mind capturing that with which we are aligned? Then only it becomes a study. Otherwise, it is a hearing session or a reading session. It will have not any impact. Immediately after the session is over, we will forget. So the purpose is not to test anybody. We are trying to find out what point we get aligned.
Swamiji, it's a tool for detachment.
Tool for detachment. Anyway, I will read once more, then you see. That is the important point. Because Gita is not a text. Here we are trying to approach Gita the allegory of Kurukshetra battlefield brings the Gita teachings to life. Very important, no? Very important. This battlefield is not just a historical or mythical setting. It represents the inner struggles we face every day. Lord Krishna, the charioteer and guide, symbolizes the indwelling reality, the divine wisdom within us. Arjuna, the warrior, filled with doubt, confusion, represents our sense of individuality. We are all Arjunas. And often torn between conflicting emotions and responsibilities, Kauravas are the negative forces within us. Greed, anger, pride that pulls us down. In contrast, the Pandavas symbolize positive virtues such as truth, courage, compassion, many things we can add. Righteousness. The Kurukshetra is the world within and without, a stage where these forces clash. Then only we are fit to enter into Gita. Otherwise, we will again think what had happened 5,000 years ago, 6,000 years ago in Kurukshetra, near Delhi. Kurukshetra, there is still a place, So we may be thinking about that. Then we cannot relate it to our own. So in the introduction, this is a very important aspect. That Gita is given to us by the indwelling reality to handle everything beautifully. Whenever we get dispirited or rejected, it pumps courage, needed courage, strength, optimism, everything in us. So the moment we think that Gita is what is the Kurukshetra war is going on in all of us, right from the moment we get up till we retire to bed, so many things God arrays before us, positive forces, negative forces, down pulling forces, elevating forces, and there is a conflict, and then at times we lose, at times we gain. So the purpose is to have a level-headedness where we happen to, we are empowered to handle everything efficiently. That is how the quality of life gets improved. So this is a very important point. Okay, when we go to the Bhagavad Gita, let us enter into Bhagavad Gita now. A journey into the Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is an 18-roomed mansion, each room having unique dimension, containing different number of slokas on varied topics, all pointing out the central theme of developing harmony at home, harmony at workplace, and harmony with friends, for which the only way is to see his role in anything and everything. Then only we will be able to harmonize. It may be very difficult to go through all rooms, all chapters, and register the contents in one attempt or even in a few attempts. The chart gives an overview of its voluminous character. How big it is, how vast it is, how enormous. So there are about 700 slokas, 18 chapters. Chapter number 1, chapter number, slokas, name of the chapter, key points. For enabling us to have a first, what are all there? When we go to an exhibition, we may not be able to go to entire thing at one go, you know. We will just quick go, see. And later on, if time permits, we will go to the one where we are attracted. Or next day, or we will tell friends, I think one more pavilion is there, we couldn't go. Like that, these 18 rooms are there with 700 slokas. And so now a key point we have put. It might help us. I'm not waiting for positive plan. As beginners, we make initial visits to all rooms, observe what stands out to us, and attempt to connect each observation with the overreaching theme. Regular revisits to each room will gradually provide greater clarity on the thread that runs through them all. At the same time, we must endeavor to interpret them in our own way. For only then will it truly become our own, rather than a mere copy-paste exercise as it often is now. So we are not trying to borrow the ideas. No? When we go through that, we are interpreting to ourselves in our own way, because that interpretation will stay with us. How can we do that? We try to bring our life so far lived, whatever we hear, wherever it is possible, how did I react to then events and individuals? With this knowledge, how I would have reacted, at least in my future I can react. This is the interpretation. We are trying to integrate it with our own life. This is what we have been prompted. With this, so we have entered into, now we are entering into the first chapter. The battlefield of Kurukshetra, the venue for the pre-scripted drama, starts with the theme contained in the first chapter. The first sloka, through the words of Dhritarashtra, draws our attention to the cardinal mistake we are made to commit by allowing our mind to get dominated with the me and mine behind all thoughts, words and deeds. And this is the root cause of all battles and conflicts in our life, resulting in not becoming aware of God's presence. The first sloka. What is the first sloka? Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kimakurvada Sanjaya. We will just read that meaning only, because that is going to be the foundation of our entry. Dhritarashtra said, what did the sons of Pandu and also my people do when they assembled together on the holy plain of Kurukshetra, desirous to fight? What did the sons of Pandu and also my people? That's why he said, the first sloka through the words of Dhritarashtra draws our attention to the cardinal mistake we are made to commit by allowing our mind to get dominated with the me and mine, my people and Pandava people. He was the emperor. He could have averted the war. He could have given the share due to Pandavas. But because of his over attachment to his son and kith and kin, he did not exercise that right. So that is why the whole thing has started. Not knowing the origin of ourselves and the world of creation outside could be the instrumental cause for the dominance of me and mine. If Dhritarashtra had thought that all of us have, where from we have come, whatever we have now, it has been given to us. And when we die, not a single thing we can take also. If he had understood that, this would not have come. This is another interpretation. Not knowing the origin of ourselves and the world of creation outside could be the instrumental cause for the dominance of me and mine. All the 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita point out the path that starts out from self-centeredness, vacillation, uncertainty, and concludes with the assurance from the Lord that whenever we are in a position to bring in the God dimension, their happiness, peace, prosperity, born out of the guidance from Him will be there. The first chapter and the last chapter, suppose we put over there. First chapter with the me and mine, no? Mamaka Pandavaschaiva. And the last one, Sanjaya declares, the last one, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhudir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. So he said, wherever Lord Krishna and Arjuna is there, their prosperity, success, everything will be there. And righteousness also will be there. So that means from the unrighteousness to the righteousness. Gita, if you have to say what is Gita, from self-centeredness to selflessness, from unrighteousness to righteousness. These two words, that is what is highlighted here. All 18 chapters point out the path that starts out from self-centeredness, vacillation, uncertainty, etc., and concludes with the assurance from the Lord that whenever we are in a position to bring in the God dimension, their happiness, peace, prosperity, born out of the guidance from Him will be there. And then let us try to have a quick run of these 47 slokas. Then we will again come back. Shloka 1. The blind king Dhritarashtra's ardent affection for his own sons had clouded his wisdom to deny the kingdom of Hastinapura to his nephews, the rightful heirs. This reminds us how people may fall from grace, from the path of righteousness into the cesspool of selfishness when they are blinded by clinging on to their attachment like a monkey with a clenched fist. Sloka 2 to 20. As King Dhritarashtra was blind, his eldest son Duryodhana was the de facto king who virtually ruled the kingdom. In these slokas, Duryodhana approaches his Guru Dronacharya to apprise him of the situation in the battlefield and share his own apprehension about the outcome of the impending war. It is apparent that people enslaved by negative tendencies would try to influence others to join them in their destructive pursuits. If we are passive to their overtures, we might fall into their crafty trap. We have to be active, we have to actively resist them and move further to the opposite direction, the path of righteousness. These shlokas teach us a crucial lesson in a crisis situation. Bhishmacharya, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, the widely respected elders in the royal court, faced a moral dilemma and an ethical crisis, whether to listen to their conscience and follow the path of righteousness or to affirm their loyalty and commitment to the ruler, even if his intentions are selfish and malicious. In life, we all face moral dilemmas at times. Which option we choose is the test of our character and determines our very destiny. At critical juncture in life, abstaining from doing any wrong thing is not good enough. One has to necessarily do the right thing. That is what these elders failed to do. By keeping the company of malevolent people like Duryodhana, one's action becomes unethical, unmerited by default, an error of omission, if not by commission as well. Sloka 21 to 47. Here Arjuna addresses the Lord as Achyuta, the imperishable, the ever dependable one, and requests him to place the chariot in the middle of the battlefield. Overcome by his delusion regarding the right and the wrong, he becomes deflated, desperate, depressed. These shlokas reveal how Arjuna is about to lose in the battle of life in spite of being a skillful warrior with the Lord Krishna as his charioteer and the mighty Hanuman protecting his magnificent chariot. Life offers us a series of battles from the moment we are born into this world to the last moment of our earthly life. Some battles we may win, some battles we may lose. It all depends on how we fight them. But we will undoubtedly lose a battle even before it begins if we refuse to fight. No matter how resourceful we are, our battles are lost if we are unable to or refuse to see why we are here in this battlefield and what purpose this battle of life serves. This is a very important word. No matter how resourceful we are, our battles are lost if we are unable to or refuse to see why we are here in this battlefield and what purpose this battle of life serves. What was the cause of Arjuna's dejection and depression? His delusion, his false thinking that brought his deeply ingrained, crystallized selfishness of me and mine in place of his worthy duty to fight his battle and administer justice. If there is one single factor that holds back a person from reaching the heights he was supposed to reach, that could be his own down-pulling, self-restrictive tendency to cling on to his personalized, intimate attachment. Now, what are the learnings? At some point in life, we often find ourselves attached to objects, people, or situations. While these attachments are natural, they can sometimes lead to feeling of dejection, disappointment, or disillusionment. In such moments, we may adopt an escapist attitude, seeking to shield ourselves from emotional strain. To justify our action, we might resort to lofty words or rationalizations. Yet, amidst these struggles, there remains a quiet awareness within, a sense that behind our individuality lies the presence of God, the originator and the protector. It is in these fleeting yet profound moments of recognition that we instinctively turn to Him, seeking guidance and solace. The reflection brings to mind the words of Vinobaji. Arjuna's condition helps us greatly in understanding the rest of the Gita. It reveals Arjuna's straightforwardness and honesty. The word Arjuna in fact means one who is honest and straightforward in nature. He candidly told Krishna all that he felt and thought, hid nothing from him, and ultimately surrendered to him totally. In fact, he was already his devotee when he made Krishna his charioteer and entrusted to him the reins of his horses. He had got ready to give into his hands the reins of his mind also. Let us do likewise. Let us not think that unlike Arjuna, we do not have Krishna to guide us. Let us not get caught in the fallacy that Krishna was a historical person. Everybody has Krishna residing in his heart as the indwelling self. He is nearer to us than the nearest. Let us bear our heart with all its impurities and weaknesses before Him and say, O Lord, I take refuge in you. You are my sole guide, my master. Show me the right path and I shall follow it. If we do so, Arjuna's charioteer will be our charioteer too. We shall hear the Gita from his own lips and he will lead us to victory. These words remind us that Krishna is not confined to history but lives within each of us, ready to guide when we open our hearts to Him. Before we proceed to the second chapter, any point that has touched your heart, Let us try to go through. Because we are not after textual, no, academic learning. We want to take something, take home message. So what is it that struck to us? From introductory portion we made an attempt, and then we entered into Gita, and the first chapter, the chart you will remember, and the first chapter, and then the learnings.
Hariom Swamiji.
Yes.
Swamiji, the point that really touched my heart was how you correlated between the first verse of Bhagavad Gita and
Last.
the last one, Yatra Yat Yogesh.
Yeah.
That one, Swamiji.
Oh.
And I have heard and I have even read lots of information on these two verses, but it's only today when you said it, I kind of realized that the first one is about me and mine, and the second one is about selflessness. And it's also about the fact that where Arjuna, that is us, resides with Lord Krishna, there all prosperity and everything that we want in life, all the solutions, they are present there. So this really helps.
Very good.
It was a kind of consolation and a very inspirational something. Hariom.
Hariom. Very good. Anybody else?
Swamiji,
Anybody here?
it's
No?
about the point where
Huh? Yes.
it's about the point where it said if one is of a loose-minded and we listen to anybody and get carried away with that, how it affects our life. And this happens in our life often. So this is a very important point.
Yes. Very good. Yes. Then anything else?
Swamiji, the feeling that I don't have Krishna.
That should be replaced by I have Krishna. Very good. The Vinobaji is that beautiful word, For Arjuna there was Krishna, for me there is nobody. Then he emphatically says, no, Krishna is in our heart. Let us do likewise. Unlike Arjuna, we do not have Krishna to guide us. Let us not think. Everybody has Krishna residing in his heart as the indwelling self. That is the one who makes us to talk now. The one who makes you to hear now. The one who makes you to feel that you are sitting, you are hearing, you are seeing. That is Lord Krishna, the indwelling self. We have forgotten him. We as individuals, as Arjuna, we have forgotten him. So we are trying to make ourselves aware of him. Then we can seek his guidance directly. Yeah, it's a very important point. Then, anything else? Only by churning, it can come.
Swamiji, can I say one point, but it is not about first chapter.
No, let us try to concentrate on
Can I
this.
say that? Swamiji, in the beginning when Sri Krishna is the charioteer, you hand over the reins, it is only faith. But at the end when he says, Karishye Vachanam Tava, it is the surrender aspect and then it is the trust. So in the beginning there is faith and in the end there is trust. I found this difference, Swamiji.
Okay. No, the first sloka and the last sloka we were connecting. There in the 18th chapter, what you mentioned was, he gave a lecture and he was, one by one he was bringing out the truth. So finally he thought I should not plug his enthusiasm, his creativity. So he said, these are all the things I wanted to share with you. Now you decide. Then Krishna said, no, I will do what you have told me. Vinobaji beautifully puts it as, he gave the freedom. Not that he said there's a dictum or a dogma, you should act. No. Whatever you feel it all right, you do that. That's what Krishna said. And for that he replied, no, I am Nashto Moho. I am clear from all my misunderstanding. I have got clarity. I will do exactly what you have advised me. Karishye vajanam tava. Anyway, when we come to 18, we can elaborately discuss about it. And now coming back to the first chapter.
Swamiji.
1 minute, somebody is telling here.
Arjuna was straightforward and surrendered to Krishna.
Correct. Because he did not run away from the chariot. He did not run away. He sat. I will not fight. He sat. But he did not run away. That is how, Krishna takes over the role next. Yes?
We are facing all the problems and struggles in our life because we do not know the origin of the
problem
that arise.
We should. Now we understand that all our problems originate from the me and mine. If we don't try to understand that, we will be floating on the surface and then all the appendages. Yes, correct. Then, anything new?
In the battlefield, life is like a battlefield. We have, whether we win or lose, we have to involve ourselves. We have to overcome it.
Correct. Not running away. All of us we are in the battlefield. We cannot run. Where can we run away? Wherever we go, the battlefield will be there. Suppose I feel I will go to that ashram and stay. There also my mind travels with me, The same conflict which the mind was creating, that will also come with me, along with me, So that means we have to face the battle then and there, not escaping.
Actually, it was a revolutionary way of thinking. It was a revolutionary way of thinking. Previously, it was that we have to forsake everything, give up everything.
No.
This is not.
Mam anusmara yudhyacha. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha. In all places, at all times, remember me and fight the battle of life. He did not say, you come to me. This is a beautiful slogan. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha. In all times and in all places, remember me and then fight the battle of life. Anything else? First churning, we have got a lot of butter. So we will go to the second chapter.
In the first chapter, priorities of Swami. The message is priorities. My son, me and mine. Priorities.
My priorities.
My priorities.
Yes.
We are forgetting his presence.
That is our biggest problem. In spite of hearing, in spite of doing Ramnam, in spite of going to various Tirtha Kshetras, in spite of meeting Mahatmas, in spite of reading, in spite of bhajans, still the cardinal mistake of not becoming aware of him still continues. Because we have objectified him, that is why. We have kept God as separate from us. That is why, in spite of all these things, the gap is still there. The Vinobaji's word, reminds us that. Everybody has Krishna residing in his heart as the indwelling self. This we have to realize, Good point.
The first sloka itself will be said the entire Bhagavad Gita is said. Dharma Kshetre, Kuru Kshetre, that itself, Kshetre, Kshetre, Dharmam Kuru Kuru. Whatever field you want, you do the Dharma. That is the central message.
Anything else? Okay, now we will go to second chapter. 15 minutes we have. In our daily interactions, we are often driven by the notion of me and mine, confined within the boundaries of the body-mind-intellect complex. That is called me and mine. Sri Krishna in this chapter emphasizes the transient nature of the physical body and reveals the eternal essence of our true self. Body, mind, intellect, sense of individuality. Its perishability is highlighted, that's what. Because we think this is permanent. That is why everything we take it as something it affects us, it affects us, it affects us. To liberate ourselves from the grip of individualistic desires and attachments, Krishna advocates the cultivation of equanimity in all circumstances. We can say, positive indifference instead of equanimity. We are there, but we are not involved. Everything is happening, we don't identify with it. Even while we act, we don't identify. That all we will come to the third and fourth chapter. So by maintaining a balanced mind, unaffected by the ever-changing highs and lows of life, we can transcend the limitation of the ego. This inner stability paves the way for mental clarity, enabling us to recognize the divine presence in every thought, every word, every action. With this awareness, we are guided to act with wisdom, purpose, and a sense of higher alignment. This is some hints about the second chapter. Now, first to 10 slogas. Arjuna's state of despair is vividly described, setting the tone for the transformative teachings that follow. Then only, he should be craving for an answer. Then 11 and 12, Krishna reveals that everything, including our actions and their outcomes, is predestined by the divine will. This realization helps Arjuna and us understand that we are not in control of the grand scheme of things. Rather, we are instruments of the divine will. 13 to 14, Krishna speaks as Arjuna's closest friend, bluntly pointing out his misconceptions and gently reminding him of his inherent strength, encouraging him to rise above his doubts. 15 to 18, despite Krishna's words, Arjuna remains unconvinced and still struggles with his decision. 19 to 30, Krishna elaborates on the eternal nature of the soul and the perishable nature of the body, clearing Arjuna's misunderstanding and urging him to fulfill his duty. 31 to 38, Krishna emphasizes Arjuna's duty as a Kshatriya to fight, reminding him of the higher purpose of this battle and his responsibility to act in accordance with Dharma. 39 to 46, Krishna instructs Arjuna to perform his Swadharma, personal duty, while also upholding universal human values. He warns against allowing personal attachment to hinder the welfare of others. 47, Krishna teaches that while we cannot avoid action, we must relinquish the attachment to the results of such actions. The results of our labor belong not only to us but to all, as they are the result of countless contributing factors. This is one of the famous slogas in Karmanye Vadiharaste, often misunderstood. He does not ask us to do that. Ordinary people will say, without looking for the fruit, how will they act? But elaborate explanation has been given. Then 48 to 53, the key to peace and wisdom lies in maintaining equanimity, being free from attachment to the dualities of life, success and failure, pleasure and pain. Excellence in action comes when we dedicate ourselves fully to each task without attachment to its outcome. Samatvam Yogam Uchade and Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. Slogan number 54. Arjuna inquires about the character. Krishna says that this can come only when, for a person who has got Sita Prajna, steady wisdom. So then he asks, who can do this? A steady, unwavering intellect. What are the characteristics? Then from 55 to 72, Krishna elaborates on the qualities of such a person. It has been condensed now, so that we will remember, Those who are interested, they can go to their respective text and gain more and more and see more and more insights. These are only some clues by which we try to understand Gita is in us. Kurukshetra war is every day going on in us. And we need something to embolden us, empower us to handle situation effectively. For details, one has to go to the different commentaries given by Mahatmas. They have plumbed deep into it. They have gone very much in depth. So it will give us more and more light. This is only an attempt. So who are the man of steady wisdom? Self-contentment and independence from external circumstances. Freedom from the pull of attachment, fear and anger. Ability to remain unaffected by external events, akin to an ocean that accepts all waters yet remains undisturbed. We all go to the nearby beach and where some rivers join. We should go to that point. Then we see the river is flowing toward the ocean. But the moment it becomes one with the ocean, it loses its identity. And at the same time, the level of the water does not rise up at all. It's a wonderful slogan. Apuryamanam achala pratishtam. Every time if we remember that, it will help us. Apuryamanam achala pratishtam samudramapa pravishandi yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishandi sarve sashandi mapnoti nakama kami. So the ability to remain unaffected by external events akin to an ocean that accepts all waters yet remains undisturbed. Sense control and the discipline to withdraw from distractions. Subjugating the senses and focusing the mind on the divine. Overcoming desires, delusions, attachments that cloud judgment, that lead to suffering. That yesterday we saw, What was that? Anybody remembers? Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu upajayate sangat samjayate kamaha kamat krodho vijayate krodhat bhavati sammoha sammoha smriti vibramaha smriti vramshat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashyati. This is the ladder of fall, Very important for all of us to know. We may not know how we are falling. So here he portrays when a man thinks of objects, attachment for them arises. From attachment, desire is born. From desire arises anger. From anger comes delusion. From delusion, loss of memory. From loss of memory, the destruction of discrimination. From the destruction of discrimination, he perishes. The ladder of fall is very beautifully described here. The path of destruction in a seeker is so elaborately detailed in this stanza that fallen as we are, we shall know how to get back to our pristine glory and inward perfection. If we have understood that we have fallen, that is important, no? The source of all evil, like a tree from the seed, starts from our own wrong thinking or false imaginations. Thought is creative. It can make us or unmake us. If rightly used, it can be used for constructive purposes. If misused, it can totally destroy us. When we constantly think upon the sense objects, the consistency of thought creates in us an attachment for the object of our thought. And when more and more thoughts flow towards an object of attachment, it gets hardened to form a burning desire for the possession and enjoyment of the object of attachment. The same motive force of the emotion, when directed towards obstacles that threaten the non-fulfillment of our desires, it is called anger. An intellect fumed with anger comes to experience delusion, and the deluded discrimination comes to lose all memories of the past. Anyone excited with anger is capable of doing acts during which the poor victim seems to have totally forgotten himself and his relationship with all others. When thus an individual, through his own wrong channel of thinking, gains an attachment to an object which matures into a burning desire, and when that object of desire shoots him up into a fit of anger, the mental disturbance caused by the emotion dilutes the intellect, makes it forget its own sense of proportion and the sense of relationship with things and beings. When thus a deluded intellect had come to forget its own dignity of culture, it comes to lose its discriminative capacities, which is often called in common parlance as conscience. Conscience is the differentiating knowledge of the good and the right, which often forms a standard in ourselves, and whenever it can, it warns the mind in us against its lusty sensuousness and animalism. Once this conscience is dulled, the man becomes a two-legged animal with no sense of proportion or with no ears to hear any subtler call in him from the hungers of the flesh. Thereby, he is guaranteeing for himself a complete distraction, inasmuch as such a bosom cannot come to perceive or strive for the higher, the nobler, and the divine. So this is how beautifully brought out. So points. So Krishna assures Arjuna that such a state of mind, free from attachment and ego, leads to the highest state of peace and ultimate liberation, the Brahmic state where one experiences unshakable tranquility and union with the divine. So this is how the second chapter ends. Now let us go, what is the learning? Every problem arises from the sense of individuality which is rooted in the body, mind, intellect. We tend to respond to events and people from this limited perspective. To free ourselves from the perceived problems and obstacles that stem from this mindset, we must first recognize the ephemeral nature of the body and the fluctuating tendencies of the mind. This understanding can be cultivated by reflecting on our own experiences, how our preferences, priorities, even the stages of our physical body have continuously evolved. Through this introspection, we come to realize that every action undertaken by a human being is driven by the mind. When the mind is restless, distorted, directionless, it can lead to chaos and missteps. The key, therefore, lies in calming the mind and adopting a broader perspective, viewing life from a higher, more enlightened vantage point. Achieving this requires cultivating the qualities of a person of steady wisdom, one who remains composed and balanced amidst life's ups and downs. So today we made a quick run of the introductory portion, the first chapter, overview of the first chapter, the learning and the chapter itself, and the learning from the chapter, overview of the second chapter, from the stanzas, some clues, and then from the learnings. This is how our process is set. Every now and then we will have a recap of the learnings, Rest of the things we can leave. What is the learning? What is the learning? What is the learning? Because that learning will help us to deal with men and matters every day. So after 3 or 4 ashtakas, only this particular stanza, the chapter is lengthy. The next third chapter, 43 are there, and 42 fourth are there, and fifth 29 are there. So probably we may be able to get some clues about very important Karma Yoga, Jnana Karma Sannyas, and Karma Sannyas Yoga. These are very important for people like us who are involved in, say, ashram seva or individual life, and then family life, professional life, social life. So there are many, many clues from these three. We will try to make an attempt from tomorrow onwards. In the meantime, we would request everybody to remember some clues from the learnings we got from first and second, and also from the introduction. Every now and then we have to keep on repeating to ourselves. Then, the next chapter will become clear. Next chapter will become clear. Some of the points discussed in the coming chapters, it will give more and more clarity to what we have tried to understand from the earlier chapters. So because we are not covering any portion, it is not an intellectual exercise. We are not interested in that. We are trying to take some essence from each chapter to make our life more and more productive, more and more creative, more and more blissful, more and more peaceful. At the same time, we should be also prosperous. So this should be the idea behind this study as prompted by Papa. So let us all move towards this on this direction. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om to everybody. Hari Om, Hari Om. Hari Om, Hari Om. Namaskaram, Namaskaram.
Hari Om, Pranam Swami.
Pranam, Pranam, Pranam.
Pranam Swamiji.
Pranam, Pranam, Pranam. Hari Om. അഞ്ച് മണിക്ക് വാങ്ങോ, 5:05 വാങ്ങോ, 5:15 വാങ്ങോ. യു വിൽ ഷെയർ സം തോട്ട്സ്. എല്ലാവരും വന്നു. 5:15.